Alright, in this example, we'll demonstrate how to create a user-defined method. Now we have a class, which is the main class, which contains main method. So let's say that we a normal program try to add two numbers together. I could identify the two numbers x and y, for example, and I could say integer result now. Then the normal way we say system.out.print, for example, what .print enter first number, and I would say also enter the second number, okay, and I would say copy, for example, and I would say enter the second number, and then I have to do scanner, so I say scanner n equal new scanner, and I will system.n, and I will say here I have to import the scanner library, okay, import the scanner, and then I will say here x equal n dot next what integer, and then the second one I would say what y equal n dot next integer, and I could print the result. I would say the result equal x plus what plus y, and then I could print the result and say system.out.print len. Here I could say the numbers x plus, and I could put plus like this inside the partners, and plus y equal here plus equal, and that would be plus result. So I just want to print the result. So if you run the program, you write everything in one program, okay? So you just run it and you enter two numbers, and the result will add these two numbers together. Okay, here we go. Enter the first number, let's say 2, and enter the second number, let's say 4, and it should print 2 plus 4 equal what? Equal 6. Here, this is the result. Now, this is one program, okay? If I want to also print out the subtract, I could say again like this and copy that and say okay, copy, and I want subtract, okay, and I will say result again equal minus x minus y, and then here I could say result minus y equal the result again, okay, and if you run it again, that will give you the same thing, extra that another function is added, and you can see that 2 plus 4 equals 6, and 2 minus 4 is equal to minus 2. Now this is the same function. What about if I want to identify my main method? So this is the start of the function, and this is the start of the main function. I will stay inside the class here. I'm not going outside the class, okay? You cannot write code here. It will be outside the class. So all the functions should be what? Inside the class, okay? So this is the main function. I can close it, so I won't be like this. Now this is the main function. If you want to see the code, you can press on the code plus and write it. Okay, so outside the main, I would say public another function. I will call it what? Void. I don't want that function to return anything. Void add, and I will give him two number, integer a, for example, and integer b. These are what? These are the parameter for the function, and I will write in the function that same code that I will create another function is called what? Also public void sub, okay, subtract, and I will give it two number, integer a and integer b, two numbers, okay, and then I have to write some code in there. So what's the code in there? So instead of writing this here, y equal blah blah, I can copy that and put it where? Into the add function, got, and I put it into the add function, and the minus result will be where? Into the minus or subtract function. So here I have an error. Why is that? Because the result is identified where? Inside the main function. It is unknown where? Inside, because this is a block. Now result is outside. It is not identified inside this function. So it gives you an error. So I can move the definition of the result where? Because I don't need it more here, cut. I can put it where? Inside here. Control V, and now this one I have to add, instead of x y, what? I use what? The parameters a and b, a and b, And here also I have to say A and B, right? And the same thing here, I have to identify also result inside the function, so I know it is exactly what's happening. And also this one becomes, instead of x or y, become A, and y become what? B. Okay, and here also A and B. So what happened here, I moved instead of putting the add and inside the function here, okay, what I did, I moved them where? I moved them to separate function. Okay, I moved them to a separate function. These are the function. First function is a public, anyone can use it. It does not return anything, so when you see void, there's no return at the end. Okay, and the name of the function is what? Add. And this function takes two values, integer value. One is called A and one is called B. And what does this function do? It has a separate variable called result, and it has two variables, add them together, A and B together, and print out this statement. I have another function, also void, does not return anything. It's called subtract, and it takes two values, A and B, and it do the minus between them and print out this statement. Okay, how do I call them? Now if I run the program has no error, but it will not do anything. It will just scan and do nothing. Okay, because there's no output. We do not call the function. So if I enter, for example, 2 and 4, nothing happens because I did not call the function. I have to call the function. So if I want to call the add, what I'd say here, add, and I give him what? X and Y. If I want only the add. Now that one will run what? Will run the add function. We have one thing, that public, I'll talk about it later. Let's just put this one here, talk about it next lecture inshallah. Now this is how we call it. Okay, now we could add X and Y. Okay, now I put static because the method main is static. It only can call what? Static method. So I add static here before, after the public. So I have to run it. When I run it, it just only call what? The add only. Okay, so I can say that, and that will call what? That will call the add only. So 3 and 5, that will only call the add. If I want to call the sub, I can add also what? I can add the subtract, and if I give him double, that will give me an error because it is take an integer. See that? It's an error. Why is that? Because it take an integer. So I can just give him what? Integer. If I run it now, it will run both functions, the add, and then after that the sub. So 6 and 3. So you can see here in the sub, I gave him directly 2 and 7. I did not give him X and Y. So the value of A and B will be 2 and 7. Okay? And you can see that it has nothing to do with that. So 6 plus 3, but here 2 and 7. If I want to give him X and Y, I can send him X and Y here directly. So it's up to you. You can give direct value, or can you give a value for a variable, for example. Now this is how I call the function. Now these two functions does not return anything. Now this is the void. The void means what? It takes nothing. Alright? But what about if I want the result to be returned to the main function and printed in the main function? Instead of printing the result here, I want to print it in there, in the function. So I will remove this from here. I will use here integer, for example. I want to return integer. If I put integer instead of value, I have to say return what? To the value, and the value has to be what? Integer. So I have returned what? The result. Now this one will return what? A result, and I can print it here. So I would say, for example, here integer r equal add. I have to say that because what? If I call add without putting the store, now the result from add will be stored into what? Into R. Now I can print R. I can say system.r.print what? I can copy that, and I can say what? System.r.print what? For example, result equal and plus R. If you use this one, now you call the function, you store the value, return it from the function into R, and then you print R. So you can run the function and you can see that it's the same thing. It does not change anything. I just make the function return something. So 4 and 4. Now the result will be what? 8. How's that happen? Because when you enter 4 and 4, it will call add and give him 4 and 4. Now the 4 and 4 will go to the add function. It will store a equal 4 and b equal 4, and then the result will equal a plus b, which is 8, and then it will return 8. So return 8 here from the function will be stored where? Into r, and you print r here, so r will be 8, as you can see in the result. Now the other function does not return anything. I can make him return something. I can change this to what? To integer, for example, and I could say what? And remove this from here. Instead of this one, I could say return what? Return result. Now I can print that here, similar to what I print here. Copy this one, ar add result, and I can this one Control V. I can say I can change the name to what? Again, I need a variable here. I need a variable because it's become return. See an error here. Error because it has return at the end. So when I call it, I have to say a variable name integer sr, for example, equal what? Equal this one. Okay. Now I can print what? The sr here. The result equal sr. Now this is a very useful one. So you can use it to create a program. Create your own method. Now when you enter a number, it will return the same thing. Okay, there's no difference at all. Okay, result equal 8 and result equal 0. This is from the add function. This is from the sub function. You can call each other from here. You can call the function sub from here as well. You can just go what? You can say, for example, integer t equals sub what? Subtract a and b. You can call it from here. That's fine. Okay, it's in the same class. Now it's a function. You can call it from anywhere inside the class. So we have two functions here. Okay, we have three functions now. I can see one is the main function, which is for the method that we can use it to call other methods, and the other two is add and subtract. Now these two in the same class. I can also put this input inside what? Inside the function. Okay, so I can, instead of writing these two the same thing, I can just use a function. So I can create a function here. I will copy that. I can say no, I'll write it so you can know. Public static void, I can call it what? Enter get number, for example, and it does not take any parameter, but it does return what? It does return what? Integer. Copy that, enter all the whole thing. Enter what? The number. Copy this one and put it inside the function. So what happened is that I can remove this one from here now. I don't need it. I can remove the y as well from here. So I created this function. You can see that the scanner is not known here. So I need to have it inside. Okay, here because x is already there, I need to create my own integer. So I can say integer n1 or integer n, for example, and I will say n equal that integer. Okay, and I will say what? Return n. So that will what? That will create. Okay, put the here inside the function. That should return an integer. So n is integer. Okay, why is that? Because this is value, and I have to put integer because it does return an integer. Now if I want to enter the number, enter a number, I will say enter a number, not the first number. Enter a number and a question mark like this, and make it print. Yes, println. Okay, and now I can call the function from here. I can say x equal what? Get number, and does not take any return. And the same thing here, I can use what? The y. Copy, and the y is the same thing. I change this to what? To y. So I can get the numbers using the function. So you can see that. Okay, you can see that I have three functions. One for the input to get the number, and this is the one. And the second one for the add, this is the one. And the third one is for subtract. Okay, and I call them from the main function here. That's an easy way that you can split your program into a function. Now this is in the same class. This is what? In the same class. All right, what if I want to create a new class and put all these functions inside it? Okay, I want to create another class inside the same project, and I want to call it. So I go to the project, This is the project week 5, and I say new class, okay, and I create Java class. I call it, for example, calculator, and I will say finish. Now this will create what? A new class. What I will do here in the class, I will have to identify, put the two function there in here. This is the variable, okay, I can copy that, okay, the whole thing, copy, okay, and put it inside what? The calculator here. That should be fine. And also copy the other one and remove it from here. I can remove it from here. That's it. I can cut this one as well, subtract, and put it in the other class, and not in the same class. Now we're talking about two classes, okay, and I can put it in this class, okay. So this class has two functions. One is called add, and another one called what? Subtract. I can add what? I can add to them what? Another function for division, another function for what? Another function for multiply. You just copy. You don't need static now. I'm gonna create two other functions to make it a full calculator. Copy, and I will add two functions. One is, I call it subtract. One is call it multiply, and the other one I will call it divide. But divide will return what? Will return what? Double. Okay, divide will return double because it could return what? A double value. So I need to make this what? Double, because when you divide two numbers over each other, the result will be point something. Okay, so the definition for result here is different because it should return a double. Alright, now this class contains three functions. In order to call this class, I need to create two functions for this class. See how it is. One is called constructor. So I need to create two constructor for this class. I put the cursor here, and I go to source, and I say insert code, and then you say constructor. You choose the first one, constructor, and this is the constructor. Okay, we create a constructor here. Constructor is the same name as the class. Okay, constructor is the same name as a class. Okay, and I will identify, for example, let's say the x and y should be here. So I say integer x and y, they should be here. Okay, they should be here inside the class. So I deal with two number. Okay, and I can add another constructor also. Insert constructor, and this will give you, if you have variable, that will give you the variable. Okay, so I say generate. So I have two constructor. One is empty without parameter, and the second one is what? The constructor is the same name as the what? Same name as the class. Now this is like what? This is like saying, okay, I have a class, and this class contain two variables, x and y, and contain 2, 3, 4 method: add, subtract. This is the class. It contains two variables or two attributes, x and y, and it has what? It has 4 functions: add, subtract, multiply, and divide. Okay, and divide. Now, how do I use this class from the main program? When I go to the main program, you can see that the main program now contain what? The main program has an error because get number is not here. It's not anymore inside the class. So in order to use that class, I have to say what? I have to use the get number. So I would say what? I would say here, I need to create an instance from that class. So I will say calculator, and I will call it cal, for example, equal what? Equal new calculator. Now I create instance from the calculator. Calculator class is what? Is just a class. Okay, and this is how we do it. Okay, now I create an instance from the class. Now every time I want to use the numbers here, okay, I need to call what? I add is not anymore inside this class. If I want to use it, I have to say cal dot, and I'll give you add. You see that? Add, and that will take two number, x and y. Okay, and also I can use this here. When you say abstract, you have to say cal dot abstract, and that takes two number. Now if you run the program, it will give you the same thing. Now let's see if we have an error or not. Okay, if you run it, it will give you the same number. Enter number 4, and the second number 4, and that will print the same exact thing. I just call the put the function in another class called calculator, and I call them from the main method. In order to call them, I have to create an instance from the class called cal, and when I call the method, I have to say cal dot. So if I want to call the other methods, okay, I could say the same thing here. I could say what? Integer, for example, mul return equal what? Equal cal dot. When you get dot, it give you all the functions. So I want to use multi. I can click on multi. I will give him the first one is x, for example, and the second one is y. I can give him two numbers directly. I can print the result here, for example, like this. Copy and just mr here. Okay, and I can also call what? I can also call some divide. Divide will take two variable. Control V, and I call divide. I can say double, because division will return double. Double dr equal what? Equal cal dot what? Dot divide. Okay, divide x and y, and this one here I will print dr. If you run the program, that will give you the multiplication, division, and so on. Let's say, for example, I want to give them a menu, simple calculator, and I will say okay, and then I will print same thing here. I will say one add, for example, okay, and yeah, one is add, for example, and close it right here. Like this, and you would say here select an operation or 0 to exit, just a message for him, or you want 0 to exit, for example. He will enter his choice, either 0 or 1 or 2 or 3 or any one of these. So you can say, for example, integer, let's say here I'm gonna put op as an integer here, and I'm equal what? Equal get number. Is that the function that we use? Is get number. Get number. This function is in the same class here. It's already here. So when I call it, I just write its name. Okay, get number. I will give me the choice. Okay, it will give me the function, and it will print that. So I can use, for example, switch. Switch for the op, for example. Yeah. And I could say what? Case 1. A default, I would say please choose. If he did not press any number, 0 or 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, okay, I could what? I could just make him repeat again. Choose from 1 to 4, okay, or 0 to exit. Okay, and then break, right? Okay, and here I could print a statement for him, like, okay, thank you, Control V. I could say println here, and this one make it println. I could say thank you, come again. If you run it, then you can choose now which operation you want to perform, just like a calculator. Okay, so let's run the program quickly and see what is the output from the result. Enter a first number. I will enter 2 and 2, for example, 4 and 4. So they give you the menu. Choose one of these operation. For example, I will choose 1 as add. Okay, the result is addition. Result is what? Is 8. If you run the program again and enter the two numbers, same number, 4 and 4, and you enter, for example, divide, which is number 4, and you click enter, you'll get the division result, okay, which is equal to 0, because the division gives you the reminder. Did we do the division correctly or not? Let's see the division here in the calculator. Where is the division? Yeah, so the division is minus, so I should say divide, and the multiply should be what? Not minus, should be star, multiply. Okay, now it should be okay. Save. If I run it again, okay, yeah, run it again. I enter 4 and 4, and if I choose divide number 4, I said like this, the result will be 1. If I run it again and enter any other numbers rather than 1 to 4, I enter 6, it will give me what? A message that should choose what? Please choose a number from 1 to 4. Okay, and if I press 0, it'll give me a message what? Give me a message saying what? Thank you, come again. If I print 0, like thank you, come again. Now we did not take the loop, so if I put it inside the loop, I go to the program and I put it in something called do, and remove this one from here, do this, and because the OP is entered after that, I can say do this while OP not equal to 0, and that should give us like this. Okay, so if I enter 4 and 4 and then I want to add them, that print the addition is what? Addition is 8. If I want to choose another operation like multiply number 3, I can click on 3 and that will give me the multiplication result. Okay, the multiplication result is 16. If I choose another number like 8, that will give me the message, please choose from 1 to blah blah. If I enter 0, that will exit. I'll say thank you, come again. This is what the loop does actually. Now this is a summary how to create a method, a user defined method, and call it from inside the same class. Similar to this method, we call it from the same class. When I call it, I just use the name directly, so it did get number directly because it's inside the same class. If the method in another class, like this class for example called calculator, and it has these methods, okay, then I have to create an instance from the class and call it any name you want, cal for example, and then I can call the method by using the instance object name dot the name of the method and give it the right order of the argument.